Yep.
All right. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Meeting Virginia. This episode is a bit different than normal. If you can't tell, I'm not in my office. I'm in a new studio. I'm right here we're in Maryland right now. Just did an episode of the Shattered Illusionz Podcast. Want to say shout out real quick to Fortune and TK for having me on the show. And Will too. Will left, but I appreciate all you guys for having me on your show earlier. Yeah, this is different. It's different. But today, on today's episode of the best podcast in Northern Virginia, I got someone special on.
Hey.
I got Mr. Oliver Fortune on. How's it going today, man?
Hey, it's going well, man. It's going well. Happy to be here. Thank you for being able to come down to the studio, man. Happy that we able to help you out. Let's do it. I'm ready.
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah.
So I want to say this publicly because we've been trying to set this up for like the past, it's been a few months, I want to say. And I've been flaking on him. And I'm one of those guys, like if I fuck up, I gotta put it out there in public. I gotta take full accountability. So I've been flaking on him. So I apologize for that.
Hey, I appreciate that, brother. But it's all good. It's water under the bridge, man. At the end of the day, we all got shit that pop up. So it's cool. It's cool.
I want to say I always felt bad because I tried to catch you before. I was like, damn, he's coming from far away. Like, I don't want to like do it while he's trying to drive.
Yeah.
But
hey, we here now though, so that's all that matters.
All right. But yeah. So I want to kind of jump into it.
Okay.
For anyone that is not familiar with you, could you tell the viewers and listeners a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so me pretty much quick pitch. I grew up in Maryland, PG County, you know what I'm saying, predominantly black county. Was considered I think the richest black county in America at one point. I'm not sure if it's still that. But yeah, it was pretty much born and raised similar to you, middle class household, mother, father. My dad was in the Navy, my grandfather was in the Navy, lot of military in my family. Yeah, pretty much born and raised here. Yep.
Cool. So I want to start because we're here right now and you guys can't see it if you're watching. There's a screen right here and it keeps like throwing me off because I'm looking at it. This whole setup is so nice. I want to ask you guys right now, what made you guys come up with the Shattered Illusionz Podcast? Like, what made you start this and how did this all come together?
So this is a long process. So me and TK, let's just be completely honest. One of the biggest things that motivates men more than anybody is what? Heartbreak.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So pretty much it all started with that. When I was younger, I first started getting reading to the books. I read The Rational Male by Rollo Tomasi, the original one, about 10 years ago, before it was even popular, before it was even red-pilled. And I read it when I was 18 turning 19. And I read it. And then one day me and TK was on the phone. We've been friends pretty much since we was kids, 14, 15 years old. And rapping one day, we was like, hey, bro, we started talking about getting girls. Oh, that's true. We're talking about our simping stories. Then, you know, just throughout the years, we've been studying for a while. Of course, we had more experiences with women saying, oh, this is what happened. We always have these conversations. And then eventually, you know, now that we're in our late 20s, we got to the point where we was like, you know what, man, let's just get this thing started. Let's actually start up a podcast, let's actually do it. We've been saying it for years, but we actually put it into action within the past 2 years, I'd say.
Okay. You brought up the whole idea of the rational male and the red pill. I want to say, is there like I don't want to get too deep if you don't go there, but is there anything specific that like led you to the rational male?
Yeah, so I sucked with women, man. I was trash, man. I was straight trash. I got no problem with saying that. So pretty much TK knew me in high school. I kind of was that little fat kid and stuff like that was in middle school, elementary school. Girls would be like, well, you know, hey, well, you know, you're not for me, but maybe your friend, you know what I'm saying? My friend would like you, stuff like that. So I got friend zoned a lot. I was always a personable guy, even going up through high school. But I remember there was this one girl, cute little dark-skinned girl. I don't want to even say her name, but I asked her one day. I was like, you know, I just went up and I was probably like 11th grade. It was like 10th grade. And I was like, oh, you want to just date? No game at all. That's just the code. That was the code approach. You want to date? Stupid shit. So
I mean, that's the best way to do it. That blunt, like,
hey, was just savage with it. Just savage with it. And you know, I remember one time she was like, she gave me the whole, I'm just trying to focus on myself. You know, I'm going through a lot, the little blah, 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 basically saying you're not good enough as I decoded as I got older. But I was like, oh, she needs time. She needs time. And I'll be there for her no matter what, getting friend zone. 2 weeks later, I see her dating this other dude. And I'm like, what the fuck? And he's younger than me. Of course, you know, he's thin, got a six pack. And I'm just like, fuck, maybe it's because I'm fat. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know what it was. But yeah, man, I sucked. I think a lot of people turn to the red pill, me and TK included, just at the heartbreak, having some type of simp stories. We wasn't using the term simp back then, but it was just some getting used and abused by women. And you're like, man, you get to the point where you're like, man, there's something up with this. Something's wrong.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I want to know your thoughts about this. I feel like a lot of men, I feel like even if they get that heartbreak or that rejection, there's only, in my personal opinion, there's only a few men that actually sit there and think to themselves, let me try to like learn.
Yeah.
Or like get better at this.
Yeah.
Because you were saying you read The Rational Male, which means you at some point had to have sat there and said, I need to like figure this out, or at least be open to learning something new.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, what makes you like, do you have an opinion about why people, specifically men, don't try to improve themselves in that specific area, any area? But
so me personally, a lot of it has to do with people don't want to face reality. A lot of people, you got to think, we're indoctrinated from Disney Channel movies and things like that. Oh, if you just give her the glass slipper at 12 o'clock, she'll love you. If you just stand there through all her bullshit while she go fucks this other 10 alphas and shit like that, hey, she'll be there for you at the end of the road. And eventually, I think every man knows internally that something's wrong with that story. And a lot of times dudes don't want to face it. Because when you do have to face, it's a journey. It's a journey. Like I said, me and him would always have to speak about constructing things, what happened with women and things like that, you know, just to get better in terms of over time. And it's like a religion. Imagine, you know, your parents, let's just say you were a Christian, quote unquote, and your mommy and daddy just threw Christianity on you. Then all of a sudden you grow up and somebody tells you, oh, Christianity is a lie. You're like, what? People get very like, what? Like, you know, it's almost like somebody took your religion, your beliefs, everything, and just stripped it up out of you. Yeah. So I think a lot of dudes, they don't want to go through that. They don't want to go through that point where it's like, man, is something wrong with this? You know, is something wrong? Because that means you have to throw away everything that has been lied to you for the past 18, 25, 30, 40, some guys even 50 years. Some dudes never find it out. So it's a tough transition. I think that's why a lot of guys avoid it. Yeah.
That, to me, that's like the a true red pilling. From like I'm thinking about the movie where like
Matrix.
Yeah. From like Matrix, where like Morpheus is like, you can take the blue pill, the red pill, and he takes the red pill.
Yeah.
And it's this like dystopian,
yep,
shitty world with like these robot alien things, whatever.
Yep.
And you're sitting there like, damn, everything I thought was real.
Yeah.
Is bullshit.
Yeah. And it's so crazy. Back then, I don't think people, I don't know, like Matrix came out, of course, when I was a kid. I think I was like maybe 7 or 8 when that thing came out. But it was always one of my dad's favorite movies. So I'd always watch with my dad. We went to go see Matrix Reloaded in theater and all that stuff. So he was into the Matrix. He loved Keanu Reeves. But I never realized how deep, like, you know, it got, especially as I got older, especially when people started using terminology, red pill, blue pill. And yeah, it turned out that a lot of it, Matrix, I say, is definitely more of a documentary than I'll say just a movie. So
yeah, no,
it's big. It's big.
Yeah, I want to ask you about like fitness and stuff too.
Okay, ask me anything.
But I do want to ask you another quick question about red pill stuff. I bring this up because both of you, I'm gonna say, are definitely taller than average. You guys are pretty big.
Pretty big guys, yeah.
But both of you still had, I keep turning from the thing. Both of you still said that you had some issues with girls at some point.
Yeah.
What do you think about the whole idea of, because I've heard from dudes, I know some guys that are shorter.
Yeah.
They're like below 6 feet, of course, because that's tall. And they're like, there's no point in dating, or it's too difficult, I shouldn't even try. And my mindset's always been like, you can learn more about girls. And not every dude that's 6 feet or taller, they don't just walk out and just say like, hey girls, come over here. And so all of a sudden every girl's swarming over or flocking over to them. Like, there's still work to be put in for everybody.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that? Like, do you think more guys should, of course, try, or do you think, I don't know, what are your thoughts on that? The whole, just because you're 6 feet or taller, people just think girls are automatically.
Nah, that's definitely a loss. Oh, and Lenny keeps looking over, guys, because TK, my co-host, he's actually the person that brought up the studio. He's actually behind on the camera, so shout out to him. But yeah, TK is probably about like 6'2". I'm probably, if not 6 foot, like 5'11", 3/4. It's like right there at 6 foot. But just because you're there, that doesn't mean, you know, and we're pretty good sized guys, that doesn't mean that chicks just come flocking to you. And me and him have a similar story. We both were fat, like in high school. You know what I'm saying? I think I probably was a little heavier. I was about 302 pounds at my heaviest, you know, but nah, it's way more than that. And I'll say, I've seen a lot of guys that literally, no cap, it's this guy named that was 5'4". You know, he actually ended up being a rapper, actually pretty good. You know, I don't want to say his name or anything like that, but I mean, you know, he actually was pretty good, but he got bitches though. He got bitches in high school. And I'm like, this dude is like a freaking magnet, bro. Even before he had clout, he just had that swag about him that girls just really, really loved. And even before that, in middle school, I hung around a whole rack of dudes that was not all that in looks. So I knew from an early age that I'm doing something wrong. And, you know, I was like, nah, bro, it's something that these dudes do, because these are not the tallest. These are not magazine models. These typical hood niggas off the street. So I'm like, what are they doing to pull these bad joints? And I mean, like, good girls, I would think like, no, she's a scholar girl. She would never want a guy like that. And then I hear him curse him out on the phone. I'm like, and then they call him back saying, I'm sorry, I love you. And I'm like, what? So when it comes to that, yeah, they think that just because, you know, but you're 6 foot or now I got muscles, but that's all an excuse. It's all an excuse. At the end of the day, people don't want to take accountability. Even back then when I was fat, I knew something was off. It wasn't just the fact that I was fat, and I wasn't always 6 foot. I was pretty short until I'll say like I had my growth spurt in 11th grade, but it was always something like that was wrong with what I was doing, my approach. Because there was dudes that was way shorter than me, didn't have nowhere near the looks that I had, and they was pulling joints. You know what I mean? So I think it's just an excuse. Everybody don't want to take accountability. So definitely effort is number one. You have to at least try. And I see a lot of guys, they get dead right there because it's daunting.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. So I'm curious for anyone listening or watching, what would you say? Like, there's some dude out there that's listening and watching. They're probably thinking to themselves, okay, but he still got taller, so there's no point in me trying. To that guy, what would you like? Do you have like one or two things like practically that they can do
100%, yeah,
to improve with women?
Yeah, biggest thing I say, get into an environment. Earlier we talked about on the podcast, you say how you went to Penn State and, you know, you just wanted to get into an environment that was a social setting. That was just something where, hey, I want to just push that comfort zone. I recommend any young man that's really trying to get good, I'd say get into something where you're around a whole rack of women. That could be anything. That could be club promoting. I know a lot of guys ain't gonna go for the cheerleading team, but I mean, something where you're around a rack of pretty females. What happens is that you'll actually start getting numb. And me and TK talk about this actually all the time. Even before, the friend zone actually helped me out. Because if TK even knows that the chicks that I was in the friend zone with, everybody was like, damn, bro, like you hitting that? I'm like, bro, I wish, you know what I'm saying? But I learned a lot just from being around them, and not necessarily what they said, but I understand how they did things. I started seeing like, what are the guys that are attracting them doing? And they were attractive girls. Because like I said, I had personality. Yeah. But so I would say for guys, get around women. Get around women, get them off of a pedestal, and I'll say get used to talking to them. So even a lot of guys might say they might want to go up to a girl and they might be scared to approach, right? And their biggest thing is, oh, I'm trying to get the number. They're always going, what can I get? Start off like this. Just go up to a girl, any girl. It could be a grandma. Go up to somebody and just say, hey, what time is it? Yeah. Oh, 3:30. Okay, thank you. Good. Start off like that. And then once you start doing that to a certain, you're like, okay, let me go say hi to a girl that's a little bit looks better. Okay, cool. Let me say hi to a girl that looks a little better. Oh, she carried me. Okay, no worries. Let me go. Keep asking what time it is. And you'll start seeing like people are actually not that bad when you come at them correct. Yeah. You know, and then after that, you got some people that are assholes, but start off small. I think guys try to go too big too soon. And then when they get shattered, no pun intended, they can't take it. You know, and then they're just broken. They're like, man, they fuck bitches, and they get into all this other shit, and just, you know, it's a down spiral from there.
Then they go MGTOW or black belt, something different. They go like MGTOW or something like that. And
let me tell you something. I respect MGTOW, man. Let me tell you something. I don't respect the MGTOW that if you sit up here and you couldn't figure out the woman genotype, you know what I'm saying? Like if you couldn't figure out the woman code, I don't respect that, because to me it's just like you quitting because you're not getting bitches. But I know some dudes that are MGTOW that no, they could have women, but they just choose not to because it's just easier, or they've been through a harsh divorce and they just kind of just want to lay low. Yeah. So I think if you're a person that actually has figured out the female code and have actually have an abundance of women, but you just say, hey, now I'm good, I'm gonna just roll by myself, I think that's fine. But I know 80% of MGTOW, they're just losers that basically couldn't figure it out. So they're just trying to say, fuck all bitches, and they're mean and they hate women and all this other shit. You know, I don't agree with that. To me, that's chump shit.
Yeah. They're taking the easy way out, but not taking the effort. Yeah.
And it goes back to what we said about accountability, because it's tough. Like I said, it's a long road, but you don't quit though. You stay in there.
Yeah. You said something that I think everyone's going to disagree with. You're implying that men and women are different.
Oh, vastly different. Put it this way. We're both fruit, but one is apples, one is oranges. You know what I'm saying? One grows on a bush, one grows on a tree. It's like, it's just different. It's just different. Our genetic makeup is different. How we think is different. It's total opposites. I think that's the easiest way to put it.
Yeah. You know, what's funny, real quick, you said total opposites. And I was thinking about this the other day, because sometimes I look on like Instagram, some of my female friends, they're like, oh, men always cheat, men always do this.
Yeah.
I always think if you just sat there, I feel like this is good for men and women. Literally whatever you want, the opposite is probably what
the other gender wants.
Gender wants. Yeah. So like if you're a girl and you want someone tall, okay, maybe the guy just wants someone shorter.
Yeah.
If you're a dude and I don't know, you care about like attractiveness, I don't know what the opposite.
Care about body count.
Body counts.
Girls don't care much, but they say they do, but they don't.
They don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
But guys do completely.
Oh, completely. That's a disqualifier.
And I've heard a lot. I think actually on you guys' show, you guys had debates with girls about like, I think, yeah. You guys
yeah. I was always the polarizer one that always said like, no body count matters. Everyone's like, man, you don't know a girl. Fuck that. That's a disqualifier for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, so I'm curious because this is a debate I've had with my friends. And I actually have a little bit of a different viewpoint on body count than I think most guys do. What would you say is too high of a body count for a girl?
It depends. If we're talking about a girl that like and this is the thing where I want everybody to understand, especially females, they don't kind of get. Females pretty much get to a guy to where it's like, okay, do I want this guy or do I not? And it's pretty much blatant to them. They can say, well, no, I can sleep with dudes too, but pretty much if this dude would wife you up, you would accept it. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? But it's pretty much you want the guy or don't. Guys, it's so many different levels. You could have, what is the man looking for? Is he looking for a wife? He's looking for someone to have kids with? Is he looking for a chick he just wants on the team because he wants a 5-girl rotation? Is he just looking for a girl to get some pussy? Because a lot of dudes can't even get pussy nowadays. So it's like, it really just depends on what the guy's looking for. I say if he's looking for something to wife up, it really does depend on what you have access to. So for example, they always say like as a guy, like, you know, don't get a chick that's out your tax bracket. You know what I'm saying? It's true. Like if your girl, she dealing with $1 million dudes, she wear Gucci every day, and you know you working down at McDonald's and Domino's. I mean, you know it just ain't gonna work right now, baby. And I had to tell chicks that, like, shawty, you are my price range, and it's no shame in that.
You told a girl that?
Yeah, I've told her. No, because like TK, that like there's certain girls that it's like. Because this is how I look at things, right? You know what I'm saying? I come from the stand. I'm more traditional, so I believe in paying for everything and things like that. And if I'm on the grind and stuff like that, a lot of time it's difficult with women. You know what I'm saying? Now, me personally, because I was young and I started like developing quote unquote game as I've gotten older, I've always been able to kind of like attract these chicks. But I've always told them like, they're like, nah, we can go here and go here. And I'm just like, nah, like that's not cool with me because, you know, not just to say I want to be the one that pays for everything, but it's like at the same time, I knew I couldn't afford that. I never wanted to be to the point where it's like she's spending all her bread. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't afford to go to this restaurant. So until I can afford to go to this restaurant, I'd rather not. And I'd rather you just go ahead and just deal with somebody. And, you know, they try to fight with you because they like you and shit. But deep down, you know where that shit going to end up. Because they get tired that once a girl gets a certain lifestyle, man, they can't go back. You know, and they might do shit because they like you and things like that. But it's never good when the woman's in control. They lead the relationship straight to hell. So just going back to your question, you know, just yeah, man, we're just total opposites. We're total opposites. And, you know, a lot of guys, I think a lot of guys just don't really take a lot of responsibility anymore. And so when it comes to body count, it's kind of the opposite with women. So it really depends on what type of woman can you get. Most dudes are not getting any woman at all.
Yeah.
So it's like for the average guy, I say, man, nowadays these girls' body counts, man, at 25, they usually got about 20 or 25 bodies. I mean, I'm being nice. Yeah, that's nice with date naps and all this stuff. It wasn't like that back in 2000 because you actually had to get up. Wasn't all this date naps. It wasn't all this convenience. But now a girl can get dick from just opening up her Instagram. So I say for the average guy, man, try to keep it under. I say, man, for a wife, I say, bro, try to keep it under 15. Try to keep it under. Good. All right, try to keep it under 10. But I don't think most dudes can do that though. Because this is going to be most dudes' situation. The girl starts getting too old, and they might have got a chick that maybe she was bad back in the day, but now they're pretty much just picking up the sloppy crumbs. You know what I'm saying? From what these dudes had when the girls were 21, when they wanted those guys. Yeah. So now she's turning 30. She wants kids. She wants security. Now she's going to go for, you know, engineer Billy that's secure. You know what I'm saying? Even though Billy, that's not the guy that she wants, but she's going to settle for him. So a lot of dudes are going to be picking up the scraps. So a lot of dudes coming from that mindset, like picking up the scraps, man, try to keep her under 15, bro. But sometimes it's hard to even tell. Yeah, you got to be I can tell, but you have to be very experienced with women. And that's why I say a lot of guys just don't have the experience.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's a pretty good number, in my opinion.
Yeah.
15. Because
that's not good for me, but I mean, for the average guys, I had to say that.
Well, yeah, I'm surprised you said 15 because I've met a lot of dudes who are like, if it's more than 5, I'm out. And it's like 5. Good. Well,
my thing is, I'm just realistic.
Yeah.
You know, I know a lot of dudes are not going to put the work in. A lot of dudes are going to be getting girls that are not to say that they're scraps, but I mean, they're not going to be getting girls in their prime. They're going to be getting girls when they're older and ready to settle down. And these girls are going to have some bodies. So realistically, if she's under 15, you figure from the age 18 or age 16, when that girl's having sex at 15 nowadays, to the point where she's 30, if she got under 15, I mean, for most guys, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My standards, of course, are a little higher than that. I'd have to agree with them, but it depends on what type of dudes you're talking to. You know, I'm very experienced with women. So my thing is like, if I can get a girl that has under 5 bodies, why the fuck am I gonna go get a girl? If I can go get, we talked about Lambos earlier. If I can go get a Lambo that got 5,000 miles, why am I gonna go get a Lambo that got 100,000 miles?
Yeah.
But you got to get that money up to where you can afford that type of Lambo. And most dudes, they'll have to settle for that Lambo if they can get a Lambo at all. So a lot of dudes, I'll say, if you can keep it under 15, bro, that's good. But most dudes, I'll say, man, these chicks, they just gonna get whatever the fuck comes to them. And that could be over 50, over 30. It could be anywhere. It's a wild card. It's a wild card, man. Unless you get her young, it's a wild card.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
So it really depends on where your status is as a guy, I think, in terms of the body count question.
Yeah. You have to get what you can afford. Kind of.
Yeah, get what you can afford and get what you can attract, you know?
Yeah. I'm curious to know. You mentioned on the podcast earlier, you mentioned a few minutes ago that you were a club promoter at one point. I want to know your experience, what it was like as a club promoter, because I feel like that whole world, one, I feel like a lot of people don't really know much about what it is to be a club promoter. Like as far as like the actual day, like what do you have to do besides the obvious promoting clubs? Yeah. But I'm talking about like getting the girls, probably making sure they actually show up to the club, probably dealing with the people that own the. So I want to know, what was your experience like as a club promoter? Because that's unique. So I really did it heavy for, I say, about 2 years till about, I really say 18, 19, I was into it heavy. When I started getting 20, it started kind of getting a little old and I started kind of wanting a little more. But when I was out there, though, I'll tell you what it did. A lot of people think like, oh, it's just you're out here, bottles, women, bitches, celebrities. You know what I'm saying? And that's a glimpse of it. I'll say this about 20% of it, but a lot of it is just customer service. A lot of it is sales. A lot of it's saying, hey, trying to sell tables and trying to get people to make sure they show up, making sure people pay. Making sure that people get, it's really just a lot of customer service, man. That's really what it actually comes down to. You are the plug, especially if you go out here, and it's one of them jobs where you get in what you put in. If you go out here, you're out there, you meet security guards, you meet club owners. For me personally, at one point in time, you can ask DK, I wanted to own a club. So I was very like big. No, I want to meet the owner. I want to meet the guy that runs here. You know, I want to shake hands with them, stuff like that. So I was real big in that industry. You know, like at that, because that's what I wanted to do. But, you know, it got to a point where I was just like, kind of started falling out of it. But in that world, you learn so many things, not just from customer service, but then you also see like the reality of a lot of shit, not just with women, but just even like how money works. Yeah. You know, just even, I done seen clubs about to get closed down and they're like, man, fuck this motherfucker. I ain't gonna pay him the next 3 months. They just shut me down. Like I done seen a lot of stuff. So you see a lot of business, you see a lot how women act. And that's why I was like, damn. That's also when I got the drink thrown in my face as well when I was 19. Is it? Yeah. Man, let me tell you about the story. This girl was so bad, man. She was so pretty. I was 19 at the time. I was in a 21 and up. Shouldn't even been in that motherfucker. But I had access, you know, and I don't want to say the club's closed down now, but you know, but I don't want to say it because I want to know I get in trouble. But my thing is though, this chick, she's probably about like 25, you know, and then there's this other dude. He probably was like about 30s, you know what I'm saying? About 32, had the Gucci on, chains. I mean, just like a straight drug dealer. Probably wasn't, maybe wasn't. I don't know, but straight G, dark skin, the whole stereotype. Yeah. But he just had like a table full of girls, man. I'm just like, man, like I want to be like that guy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it was him and it was 2 other guys and it was about 9 girls. They all had a section. And I'm looking. So it was this girl that was real pretty, had a pink dress on, everything fine as hell, probably about 25. She was sitting on the edge. So I was saying, okay, back then I didn't know how females work. I didn't know like, you know, like dudes have multiple women. I didn't know. I was thinking like, okay, well, maybe the girls that are with them, because I didn't want no smoke with them. They probably had guns. Yeah. So my thing is like, I'm like, yeah, I didn't want no smoke. So I was like, okay, she's sitting on the end. So I said, okay, the one that I want, I'm going to actually go at her. Yeah. Yeah. So the bartenders and all this stuff knew me, and I told them it was one girl that was always see me walking. She was like, "You like somebody?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go talk to that girl right there." So they used to always support. They were like, "Go talk to her." So I went over to talk to Shorty, right, and I said something. It was some dumb shit, man. This before I was like, man, I said, like, did it hurt? And then she was like, "What are you talking about?" And she was like, I just said, when something that beautiful falls from heaven and some stupid shit. And she was like, "Oh boy, get away from me." Just she was one of them chicks that like really wanted to make a scene. You know what I'm saying? Because I guess she wanted attention, and like I said, she was sitting on the end, so she probably wanted the attention of the guys that was there. And she was like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And she did kind of do too much. But she was like, and I was kind of just like stuck there. And she was like, "What the fuck are you looking at?" Boom, and then just threw like it was like a bottle of think of like I forgot what it was back then, but
It was like a bottle of some champagne. Just threw that shit on me, man. And the good thing was it was at like the beginning of the night, so the whole club wasn't pilled, but there was some people that was there, and they was like, damn. And then security, I knew security because I was always a personal guy. Security was like, I was just so in shock. So I went over there back to the bartender, and I'm just sitting there just like this, blank face, just what the fuck just happened, yo? And then, so I'm like, oh God. And
mad as hell.
So the bartender I always talked to, she came over, she was like, did she start that drink at you? And I was just stuck. She was like, it's okay. And she tried to wipe me off and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And then I just see the big dude. This dude like 6'6", dog. You could tell he the alpha of the group. 6'6", chains, Gucci. I'm like, everything I'm not. So I said, this motherfucker walking. I'm thinking this motherfucker about to steal me. I'm like, I gotta fight this big nigga. Ain't none of my cousins here. I'm like, man, I'm fucked. You know what I'm saying? So he walks over and then he just puts his hand on my back. And he's just like, I look at him. I'm like, he said, just focus on the money. And then he just walked away. I'm 19. I'm like, and then so the bartender, she come back. She's like, what did he say? I said, he talking about some just focus on the fucking money. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck he was talking about. But
he was trying to red pill you right there. And then
he was. And see, I didn't know that. Because I'm just like, focus on them. It was like one of them things that somebody come up and tell you a parable or some shit. And you're just like what to just seek within or some shit like that. And he just walked off smooth though. It's like somehow he knew during the course of my life I would get it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think he acknowledged the fact that I even had the heart to even go over there because there was a group of them. They all older. They all got money. They all, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just like a kid. I had a fake polo on. Barely couldn't even get in the club. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying what it was.
I want to say real quick.
Yeah.
We talked earlier about like cold approaching and stuff like that and getting over the anxiety of talking to a girl.
Yeah.
What you did is like level 20.
Dog.
Because you not only cold approach a girl, you did it. And I'm assuming she's attractive. You're going to her and she's at this table.
Yeah.
With two dudes who you were saying is like huge guys.
Yeah, three girls. Yeah.
Most dudes, I feel like if there's even a girl in another guy's vicinity, and there's a chance that could be like his girlfriend, or even if you think, even the guy might white knight her or like try to cock.
And I got some tips for that too. But go ahead. Yep. You white knight her. Yep.
Even that, most guys are gonna be like, nah, I'm good. I don't even want to be. It's not. I'll talk to those other girls, or I just won't talk to any girls at all. I'm just gonna go home.
Man, one thing about me, and this is just testament to how I just always been, and I think that's why I've always was able to improve. Because like I said, I used to be fat, used to not be good with women, used to just struggle with everything. I always would try. I can't because what's gonna happen is I get real in my head. If I let this bad bitch go and I didn't speak to her, I'm gonna be thinking about that shit for like a month.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. For me, it was always easy just to go up and just take the chance, take whatever was gonna happen. And just let it go. And like I said, I was cool with, like I said, a couple of promoters. I was comfortable with the club and stuff like that. So, I didn't think it would be anything bad. And I've approached girl. I had some experience approaching. I was never good, but you know what I'm saying? Of course, you see from that pickup line. But my thing is like, I just did it. Yeah. And that was one thing I always was the type I'd always try. Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of dudes get stuck at nowadays. I'm like, dude, you have to try. And they kind of fell into this female paradigm where it's like, if it's right, it'll just come to me. I never thought like that. My parents was very hardworking. My father come from, like I said, military background. My grandfather was always like, you want it, you go get it. You don't wait for nobody. So even though I sucked, I just always was able to do that. And I think the guy, he just respected that. And that's why I think he came over and, I was 19, I was a kid. I didn't know shit. And he's fucking 30 something. Yeah. He's like, I think about it now, me and almost being his age. I'm like, damn, what if I seen a kid that actually had the heart to do that? I'd probably go up to him and say the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, man, don't worry about that. I thought he was coming to kick my ass.
No, he knew the game. He knew it.
He did.
I mean, he's got the table with the girl, so he knows what's going on. He's like, this guy's gonna come up. I'm sure at his point, he's probably seen a bunch of people at least looking at the girls. He's like, this guy had the heart to do it.
Yeah,
I get it. Focus on yourself, King.
Yeah, he probably was like, damn, 15 years ago, that was me.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And just, and then, like you said, going back to the question, just being in that limelight, man, it changes your focus. You see a lot of reality. And, I would go back and I would help behind the bar and stuff like that. Like I said, I wasn't supposed to, but I'd be getting ice and shit like that because I wanted to learn how the club really, really ran. So, I got kind of numb to being around pretty girls. I seen what they would always talk about in the back about, damn, my nigga fucking up. I'm about to go deal with this guy. Or it was like, or some dudes assume that like bottle girls, and I've even dealt with strippers as well. Like they think that these girls are hoes. Not necessarily. Half the time, these bottle girls, they be in the back complaining about, man, why won't he text me back? They be thinking that all these dudes that's not necessarily always the case. That's what I always tell dudes. But you just see definitely a lot, and it definitely red pills you. Like you said, when you went to Penn State, it just throws you in the fire.
Yeah.
And so from that point, that's when I really started, like clamping on the Rollo Tomasi. He had only 2 books out then, but he had that, and I think it was Preventative Medicine that was out. And I got into that. I read The Way of the Superior Man. I just went on a book tear. Once I got jobs and shit, and I started being able to afford books. Before I had to look shit up online. I was like, see what I could do for free. Every time I got to the book, that was like $29.95. Shit, I got. All right, fuck it. I'll get this shit later. Well, when I got to the moment I could start getting books, I just wanted to be the most sexiest man ever. So I started looking, how can I bring up my appearance? I just started kind of really it was a step-by-step thing, but I knew I had to approach no matter what. I knew I had to make money. It was certain things that I just already knew, that it seemed like a lot of these guys nowadays, they just, bro, you have to go get it. You have to ask. You have to try. My thing was, I can deal with you if you don't fuck up. And I tell people, can't fight is okay. Won't fight, unacceptable.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with approaching. Can't approach. All right, cool. You don't know what to do. You got blown out. Great. Won't approach. You're a coward. It's a completely different paradigm.
Yeah. I completely agree with that. I think too, when you were talking about
and I was terrified, by the way. So everybody said, it was easy for you. No, it wasn't. I was terrified.
That sounds terrifying. I was going to say the other part of that too, about the whole won't approach versus, or just bad.
Like yeah, there's a difference.
Yeah. Well, I think it also, me personally, I think it trickles down to like everything, like life in general. Like if you have a dude, say you have a close social circle, you have a girlfriend, like say you have a girlfriend, you have a buddy who won't approach girls at all. He's too afraid to talk. My personal belief, and I'm curious to know what your thoughts on this, it sabotages your relationship. Because then you got that guy who starts saying like dumb shit, or he's so bad with girls that your girl is like, well, why is this guy hanging out with this guy's weirdo? So I don't know. When you're talking about like the whole, you got to be around guys who are at least willing to approach, even if it's not good. I feel like that's.
Well, it all everything goes down to the heart of a man. Yeah. At the end of the day, like I may have been scared to do something. This could be in any realm. It could be fighting or anything. I'd be scared or whatever. I would still do it. Like that's who I always was. Even my first year playing football, I got most improved player my first year. You know what I'm saying? I always was known for my heart. I may not have always been the best, but I always knew like, nah, I'm gonna give 110% effort. All my coaches can tell you that. You know what I'm saying? Especially like my little league coaches, because you know what I'm saying. So it's like I always was known for having that heart. Like, nah, this motherfucker got heart. He was bold. He always would do it. He always would give 100%. So I was always that guy, and I think that life rewards that. And I think a lot of men that don't have that heart, that don't have that internal drive, how can you expect to get anything out of life? So it's more about if he's scared to approach and he says some dumb shit. I mean, if a girl's into me, she into me. You know what I'm saying? She'd be like, why you say that? I'd be like, I don't know. Like, that's my nigga though. You know what I'm saying? I mean, for real. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna stop dissing my friend over a chick, but she into me. But you're right. Sometimes who you hang around, she do judge. Women can and do judge that. But if she's into you, she's into you. I just say that only becomes detrimental, as we was talking about earlier on other podcasts, where it's like, let's say my girl get mad at me or some shit like that. And let's say she the vindictive type. And this is why every guy got to get experience with women. The chicks I deal with now, they wouldn't do that. But chicks back in the day, you just throwing a wild card. Some chicks are vindictive. They'll try to sleep with your friend. If your friend ain't getting no fucking pussy, he gonna be like, oh shit. Then your friend, oh nah, I ain't gonna tell him. And then see, that's where that shit gets dangerous. Yeah. Because it's like, female sexuality is the most powerful thing on this earth. I've seen a lot of dudes go over. They won't kill for their brother that just got killed, but they'll kill for their bitch. Yeah. I mean, Sarah, you just look at her. So a lot of dudes, that's where it becomes detrimental. If you just say some dumb shit and don't know what to do, and you go up to a girl, she throws a drink in your face or whatever, oh, no big deal. We can fix that. Yeah. But if you just sit up here, you're scared to do it. Most likely you're probably scared to go after everything else in your life. And for me personally, I don't really hang around people like that, because that's not what I am. You track what you are. So it's like, that's never been my style. So yeah, I hang around warriors.
Yeah. You brought something up I want to ask you about. You were talking about a guy killing for a girl versus like killing for his boy or something.
Yeah.
I have a belief that people always say, I always hear the argument. People are like, yeah, we live in a patriarchy, men are powerful and all this stuff. And I've always said, I think power is influence. Like if you really dissect what power is, it's influence.
I agree with that.
And I was like, I disagree that men are the most powerful. It depends on the circumstance, obviously. But I think a lot of women, especially nowadays, it's my personal belief, I don't know if you agree with this, are more powerful than men, because a lot of guys will simp and do all kinds of crazy stuff for women. So I don't know. I don't know if you agree with that or what your thoughts on that are, but I guess kind of one question I'm curious to know. Do you think we are sort of like in this patriarchy, or do you think it's like a matriarchy?
No, it's turned into a matriarchy. But let me get back to the first point that you were saying. Women have always ran the world. I don't care what anybody say. If you look at a man's deepest, darkest, rooted desire, the reason why he wants to get in shape, the reason why the fucking walls of Troy fell over is because the Princess Helen, like at the end of seriously, go back and watch Troy. Like over a bitch. Not even over power, over a bitch. A bitch. So my thing was just like, seriously, go back and really look at it. Everything boiled down to bitches. It wasn't because, let me see if I can outdo him. Yeah. Oh, let me see if I can outsort this guy. Everybody always fell over a bitch. If you I read the Bible and the Quran. If you read some of these stories, King David fell over Bathsheba, a bitch. He slept with somebody else's wife. That was his best man. So the power of these kings, these sultans have fell. And they've had multiple women, but they wanted that woman, Jezebel. Like you read these stories of how these great kings have fallen. It's always rooted back to a bitch. So women have always influenced the way that men have. Now, here's the problem where we're going to now. We live in a society where women want to have all this masculine energy, but what they don't understand that a feminine woman is the most powerful thing on this earth. Reason why? Because a feminine woman can influence me to do anything. You see me, I'm a very outspoken person. You're not gonna shut me up. I'm gonna say whatever the hell I want to say. But if my bitch come over and says, Kevin, can you talk to me real quick? I'm gonna be like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like it's instinct. It's in us. But if you try to come at me with some, you don't ever talk to me. You don't want to do that. You get what I'm saying? Then you're gonna get ignored. That's not powerful. And in that way, a man will rule you. But if you use your femininity, you can influence any man. Any man. Any man. A feminine woman is very beautiful. And with the declining, with the scarcity of feminine women, especially in the West nowadays, UK, Canada, United States, is if you come across a feminine woman, it's like
it's rare.
It's almost like whoa, like who is this? Yeah, you know. So definitely, a feminine woman can influence you to do anything. She can influence you. I mean, damn near to change your life, get in the gym, get in shape. Like I said, dudes will kill over a chick, not even over a but over a chick.
Yeah, dudes will kill or they'll die. Voluntarily
over they bitch. I done seen that shit too many times. I'm telling you, the most street dudes. Man, I live by the code, bro. All this other shit. Somebody sit up here and they snake your minds, but then you sit up here and then we'll get to it when we get to it. But then if somebody even look at your girl, if somebody just go up and say hi. You willing to put you're not even thinking. You don't know this dude. You don't know if this dude is a killer. Yeah. You don't know if this dude will kill you. And you just like, fuck it. I'm gonna just jump in line. You're not touching my girl. I mean, you just start like I'm like, yo, the heart I done seen that these dudes have for a bitch. It's crazy. Yeah. You know, and don't get me wrong. I respect people defending their ladies, but what I'm trying to say is like, women have always ran the world, man. You know what I'm saying? The most powerful women are feminine women. That's why you even got people like, for example, Marilyn Monroe. Look at how feminine she was back then. Had every fucking body. Even to this day, her femininity is still looked at. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Look at feminine women over the period of time. They're remembered. Not these fucking women that are just out here just, I'm gonna be a masculine, I'm a boss, bitch. Like, nah, bro. Like at the end, so if you try to come in with masculine, you're gonna lose. But if you come in with femininity, you're gonna win.
So you're trying to say Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion aren't gonna go down in history as the highest, best, most influential women of all time. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm not gonna say that because let me tell you something. Like at the end of the day, even Cardi B, dog, people they portray Cardi B don't even let her daughter even watch her stuff. So my thing is they put and see, I'm a little familiar with the music industry, like you know what I'm saying? Because I've done a little. You've probably seen it too. But my thing is that they'll put an image out there, and I've even said this about Megan Thee Stallion. I don't think that she really is this hot girl. I'm a boss. But she puts that out there for her fans. You know what I'm saying? Because if you listen to her old shit, like back in Tina's show and Real in the Real, like all this shit, she be rapping dog and bitches too. Like, nah, y'all bitches is weak as well. These niggas weak, but these bitches weak as well. It was balanced. So what I'm trying to say is like nowadays they put out an image that I feel like they don't even follow. But these girls, they eat it up. It gives them some type of empowerment. And when it gives them that empowerment, it makes them feel good for the moment. You know what I'm saying? And then it sells. So they do it for record sales. And, you know, it's kind of demonic because to me, it's just more of a sell your soul type of thing. But then you won't even let your daughter watch your shit. I wonder why.
Yeah. You'll let everyone else consume it, but not your own family members. Do you think, I guess, I don't know how much time.
Run it, bro.
I was going to say real quick, do you think, and and I don't know how deep you want to get into this.
Deep it.
Do you think that's intentional, or do you think there's any intent behind the music that's out there or the message that's being sold?
I think they're trying to make men weak. And I think they're trying to make women more liberated. But what they don't understand is women think that liberation is freeing, but what it actually does is it actually damages them in the long run. They think that being out here shaking their ass, doing all this other shit, they think that makes them being promiscuous, doing what a guy can do, quote unquote. They think that makes them more valuable. They think that makes them free, but in the long run, it hurts them. It hurts their psyche, it hurts their sexuality. And that's why if you look at the saddest demographic right now, it's women in their 40s with no kids. Those promiscuous women that focused on careers and just fucking around, getting ahead. Those are the saddest women. The one that are happiest are women that have a good man, that are subservient to a man. And then, they have a family and the man takes care of them. That's been the way since it's been forever. And when we was in our strongest economy, at least in the United States, in the 1960s, it was built off the nuclear family. That's when we was at our strongest.
Yeah.
Man going out there to the coal mine or whatever. Women at home, taking care of the kids. And for me, being a teacher, I've seen how the development of young children and the development from 4 all the way up to 17, I've seen the development of having a nurture in the household versus having 2 parents work and versus having so many different scenarios. So we've definitely lost that. So we're definitely running into a matriarchy situation where they're trying to weaken men, strengthen women. And if you look at anything that has stood the test of time, if you want to if you want to fuck up a society, you attack the men first. Because if the men are too weak to fight, nothing gets done. Even a woman that wants shit done, she has to influence a man. You get what I'm saying? Even if she hates this guy, she has to influence other men to hate that guy in order to do something. She can't do nothing herself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
the other men to attack or
exactly. Yep. But if all the men are like, no, you're strong enough to say no, fuck that. She just has to kind of just deal with it. Because what you gonna do? Beat me up? Yeah. You're not gonna do it. You have to get other men to beat me up, and other men. She 5'3" and she's not supposed to have no hands. She's not supposed to have no hands. She's supposed to let me take care of her. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Because she's a woman.
Yeah. Do you? I'm curious to know your thoughts on this because I've once said about a year or so ago, I was having a conversation with my buddy, and we were talking about the whole idea of women becoming more masculine and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. I personally think it's intentional for an economic reason. So my thinking was that if you have, say, a guy in a nuclear family, he's the one making the money. She's not really making money. He is more frugal is not the right word I'm looking for, but he can control the money a bit better. Because I know any women listening to this, she might get upset with this. But I tend to think that women kind of consume in the economy a lot more recklessly than men might.
That's statistically proven. Yeah, that's statistically proven. But of course, it's not that. I think generally speaking, that's true. It's not every case. You have some situations where the woman's good with money and the man's not. Yeah. But I mean, in a general case, yeah, I would say majority of the time, women it's no lie. I think they take up what TK knows the numbers exactly. It's like 73% of the consumer base. I mean,
it's 80%.
80% of the consumer base. So no. The statistics prove that.
Yeah. That's why I always thought that if you have men and women both kind of working, if you kind of empower women, make them more masculine, whatever you want to call it.
Make them more liberated.
It's more people paying taxes. But I also think there's kind of a double whammy where I think at some point people kind of realize, hey, if she has her own money, she might spend a bit more than he might.
Facts. It's true.
And when he might have been more conservative with his spending, he's now going to be a bit more likely to waste his money. Because before he might have been like, I got the family. I don't need the super fast car.
Facts.
I don't need the super big house. I got her. We're good. We got the family.
Yeah.
Now she's spending. She's got what she wants.
She want to be independent from men. And then all of a sudden she wants to compete with the next girl that's 21 and all this. So she want to go out, get some more red bottoms, get plastic surgery. No, you're right.
He's got to compete financially. So he's spending more money to keep up with her.
That makes sense. Because at the end of the day, women are natural consumers. They're natural extractors. That doesn't mean that they can't make money, but in the general circumstance, women typically, and it's supposed to be like that. You know what I'm saying? Men were made to work and give. Women are made to extract. That's how, like I said, things work in terms of circulation. But when you try to, like you said, switch that around, now you're trying to make the women the breadwinners and the man not. Well, the women just kind of just think well, my money's my money. You know what I'm saying? If you get a man is like, well, my money's our money. But it's like their thought patterns are completely different. And you're right. They'll, especially with a lot of women that feel unfulfilled with not having children and things like that. Some women don't want kids, but you'll see a lot of them, they'll try to mask that through spending. They'll try to mask that, try to find that love that either they didn't get. and they'll just try to, hey, go shopping. It was one book. I don't know if it was Dale Carnegie. It was one book that I read. It was like back in like the 1930s. It was written back then. But it said a woman that's always shopping is a sad woman. Like constantly shopping, like have like an addiction. It's something there.
She's trying to fill.
It's some type of void that she's trying to fill, and usually it's love that she hasn't gotten, or some type of affection, because women need affection. You know, men, our number one need is sex. Women's number one need is affection. So if a woman's not getting affection because she's acting so masculine, which dudes don't, you can't be affectionate towards that. So she's going to try to fill that in other areas in her life. And that could be with work. That could be with spending. That could be, you know, and then she gets to a point, like I said, 40s, 50s, she don't have no kids. And now she up there crying like, you know, like Vivica Fox.
Yeah.
No disrespect. I love Vivica Fox. I love her work. But it's just, I mean, you know, she said she wished she would have had kids.
Oh, she said that?
She said that. She actually said that. And I think Taraji P wanted more kids as well. She was crying.
I think I heard
as well.
That. Yeah.
But at least she had a son. But I mean, I think she wanted more kids as well. So eventually that's what I said, this liberation thing, it doesn't end well for society. It doesn't end well for men, and it doesn't end well for women. And to me, it's just the destruction of society. And I do agree. Women are natural consumers. So it's like at the same time, yeah, you give them more money, more things. Well, guess what? You're going to have more debt. You're going to have more spending. It's going to be definitely more. And if you're at the top of the game, hey, that's why we can have chicks like Lizzo. We can tell bitches that it's cool to be fat and stuff like that. Because why? Because it's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy. So if I make being a plus size model cool, and I got all these plus size clothes, now I'm inspiring all these bitches to be fat, because in America, that's where we are. You go to Romania, you don't really, you don't really see too many fat women. But if you see women, they're overwhelmingly fat, and they're cool with being fat, and they're told, love your curves, girl. No, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like they're making that okay. They're making us unhealthier, unfit, giving us weaker minds, and that leads us to more consumerism. So it's true. I think that you're right. I think it is intentional.
Yeah, I have like 1,000 questions.
Run it.
I don't want to take too much of you guys' time, but I do have.
You know what, man? Let me tell you something about you, man. I appreciate you for being modest, but let's be clear. We men, at the end of the day, we are here to work. This is what we do. We here to podcast. We want content. We want this stuff. Run the questions. You know what I'm saying? TK will give the signal if it's too long. Just do you, bro. Do you.
All right. I wanted to transition a bit.
Okay.
To fitness.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Because I've seen some of your videos.
Okay. Thank you, man.
You box?
Yeah.
I saw some boxing videos.
Yeah. So I actually learned to box actually younger. My cousin had taught me because I got my ass whooped in the street. And I'm just being honest. Everything that I got good at, it started off with something bad.
That's good.
The nucleus of it was something bad. I got my ass whooped on the street. And then this kid, he was picking on me in school. This kid named Andrew, when I was in second grade, whooped my ass. And then my cousin taught me how to fight, and I went back and I beat the shit out of that motherfucker. And people might say that that's toxic masculinity, but to me, that's just how to live. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of kids out on the street. Things become a slippery slope. You know, I'm not going to like I said, even back then, I'm not going to keep sitting here and getting my ass whooped. Yeah. Can you teach me how to fight? Even if it hurts. And then fighting my cousins, they was 7, 9 years older than me, 10 years older than me. So I'm like, hey, at that point, I had an older brother. Hey, at that point, going there fucking them up, got suspended, but you know, it is what it is.
Did that lead you into fitness? Because you mentioned earlier you were a personal trainer.
Yeah. Sir. Well, I mean, I'm still personal trainer now, slightly, but moving out of it now. But yeah. So the fitness journey didn't start. That was started that I got into like fighting and martial arts stuff when I was younger. Then my parents, they didn't want me to box and stuff like that because they didn't want the head injuries and stuff like that. But you know, I had like a little punching bag when I was a kid, and I was learning techniques and all that. So I got out of it. I did karate. I was a green belt. Okay. But then eventually got to the point where I actually wanted to fight and stuff. You know, parents didn't want it. So I started playing football because I was drastically overweight. I was on Jenny Craig. For all of you that know what Jenny Craig is, everybody would always go and make a joke. They'd be like, your mama on Jenny Craig. And sometimes it would hurt because my mama wasn't on it, but I actually was on it. So I had no response for that shit. So, you know, no response. But yeah, at that point, I always had problems with my weight from a young age. I was always a big boy. You know, so I really didn't start. I started playing sports, so it started kind of like shifting. I started becoming like more like the husky big, and then it started transitioning. And then my coach, high school coach, he really actually taught me how to like properly lift. And after I stopped playing ball when I graduated high school, I just kind of took it and ran with it. And, you know, just over years throughout my 20s, I just learned more. TK inspired me a lot. He started getting into fitness in our mid 20s, and he just took it to a whole nother level. And when I seen him do it, I was like, man, I got to step it up. And that's, like you said, the importance of having good men around you. So when I seen him step it up, you know, and it was a gradual thing. It wasn't something where it was just like, this changed. And 6 months later, he was this. It was years, gradual.
When you started kind of getting into fitness,
Mm-hmm.
what was the transition like? Because I feel like a lot of dudes, especially nowadays, they try to not work out. Like, I'll give you a quick example. I had a guy reach out one time. He was like, I see you in the gym. I want to work out, but I don't like going to the gym every day for an hour. And I kind of sat there and I was like, what else are you going to do? Like, you have to at some point go. You have to at least some point try to like work out. What was the transition like? Was it an easy transition going from like boxing to football to working out? Because it seems like a more natural transition for
everything was scary. Everything was scary. You know what I'm saying? The first time I got hit really hard, I got the wind knocked out of me. The first time, you know, in football, they got things like Nutcracker when you lay on your back and then you get up and you got to run into each other like that. First time I got hit by, like, he was like one of the best dudes on the team, man. And he just crushed me and I was like down and I couldn't breathe. So I thought I was looking up and I thought that, like, I was like, is this what death is? Like, I was like, is this the end? So I could not breathe because I got the wind knocked out of me so bad. And you know, it was rough. I struggled in football for a few years. And then my attitude was fucked up too, man. I had a huge anger problem. You know what I mean? I'd be cursing out the coaches and yelling and thinking, you know, if shit didn't go my way, I had a piss poor attitude. Like, was just terrible growing up. And I think that definitely hindered me, especially when I got to high school. But just getting more into football, making that transition. Football, I started wrestling and doing more sports. I played like almost every single sport. I played baseball in high school, all this stuff. Me being in all these athletic realms, I started hanging around more and more athletes. And, you know, of course, when you go from, like, let's say little league to high school to varsity to college, you start noticing the speed of the game gets faster. So me, I always wanted to win. I always wanted to be better. So I would always train really hard, stuff like that. My attitude just always fucked me up, but I learned better skills in terms of, you know, working out, getting into fitness. And then when I got older, I started studying nutrition more. And that was the thing that really like transitioned. But that didn't happen until I was like late last year in college or something like that. Yeah.
What's when you train people, what do you find is the biggest thing that holds them back? Themselves
Meaning like their mind. They'll come in already where this is where I say everybody hates the word submission, but everybody has to submit to somebody. You know what I'm saying? When I sucked at everything, I had to submit to somebody in terms of like, yo, how do I do this? They're not having humility. They come in thinking that they know everything. They're coming in saying like, yeah, I do this because, you know, I know if I eat before bed, it's going to put on weight. That's bullshit. That's a myth. Opposed to listening to me, the professional that has done this, you're going to sit here and make up all these little false realities. And I think the best trainers, they know how to kind of get around that, even though what this person's saying is bullshit. Because if you take it for literal, you're going to get frustrated. You're going to say, no, that's not how you're going to try to be correcting people all day and people are going to irritate you. Yeah. But they know how to kind of like maneuver through that. So I'll say the biggest thing is just their mindset. You know, you got to get out the excuses and they haven't made a firm decision or their life hasn't gotten bad enough. They haven't had that heart attack. They haven't had that heartbreak. They haven't had that death in the family. They haven't had, they never ran around half cross football field. They don't know what it's like to be the last person, you know what I'm saying, coming back, you know, on wind sprints and everybody laughing at you. They haven't had that pain. I had that pain. So I knew from the decision, this will not be the rest of my life. It may take me a while, but I'm going to get it. So a lot of people, I don't think just be honest, man, humans, we are terrible. We're terrible by learning through instruction. We usually have to get better by some type of pain, you know? And so I think that's the biggest thing. A lot of people just haven't had that pain yet, you know? And usually when somebody's going through a heartbreak or their cholesterol is high or something, that's the thing that's like, nope, hey, I'm done. I'm fucking about to kill this shit. I don't give a fuck. Like, that type of attitude is usually what I see that works the best in terms of people getting in shape. But a lot of people, they just ain't had enough pain. I think that's the biggest thing. And they tell themselves lies to give them excuses. No accountability. Same thing.
That makes a lot of sense.
And to your man that says, you know, and I don't know if this is your boy or not, you know, no disrespect to him. You know, I may say some things vulgar with my mouth, but when somebody tell me they can't come to the gym, but you can go out and spend all this money on alcohol, but you can't pay for a $10 membership, at least at Planet Fitness, I say just stay a fat fuck then. Stay a piece of shit. That's because this shit is hard and it does take a while. And the thing about it is like, just sit there. I can't, you know, so sometimes I don't like speaking because I always tell TK this, like, I have a bad habit of like motivate because I have a very high energy. So some people get, you know, they get hyped up for the moment, but I don't try to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because people get hyped up for a second, but then all of a sudden when you leave, now all of a sudden it's like, you go back to your regular shit. So I always try to encourage people to just have discipline. But my thing is, if you can't get the fuck up and go to the gym, but you can do all this extra shit, I'm pretty sure you're doing something else with your life that you can take out for 30 minutes
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To care for your health. If you can't care about your health, I don't really know what to tell you. Just stay a fucking punk then. Die like that. And people may say that's harsh, but that's reality. Reality don't give no cut cards.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's where it begins. If you don't value your health enough,
You have the value. Yep.
it makes you question like what else in your own life do you truly value?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting. Do you think there's another question I had earlier. I kind of want to go back to it, but it's a bit random.
Go ahead.
How do you define a man? Because I know who's it? I think Matt Walsh. Is that his name? Matt Walsh. He did this documentary recently about what is a man. I think that's what it was called. Like, what is a man? And now I'm seeing like different shows. I think Vice did something recently about like the definition of a man. And I keep hearing different definitions. Some people are like, it's just chromosomes. Some people it's just like, oh, genitalia. Other people are like, there's no difference. It's the exact same. Men and women are the exact same. So I know this might be it's kind of like a random and tough question, but what would you define as a man? Because we were talking about like you playing football, being like angry, you going to the gym, all that stuff. And I personally attribute that stuff to masculinity of being a man. But I'm curious to know your take and definition.
Yeah, so I think that there's all qualities. At the end, you read The Way to Superior Man, which is a really good book. The term man in Hebrew does not necessarily mean men. It means species. So it's a good book for women to read as well. Way to Superior Man, but it talks about we all have masculine and feminine energy in us. No matter how masculine, how dominant, and how alpha a person thinks he is, he has feminine energy inside of him. And no matter how feminine a woman is, she has some type of masculinity inside her. And it just depends on what side of the spectrum you're on. So when people say in terms of like being a man, of how they put it nowadays, usually they terms of like how the term that I get is how much do you live on your own terms, pretty much. Like that's pretty more of what I get of what being of how in the context of what people mean. Because a lot of times people say, oh, you're the man. Usually what they mean is like, damn, you're doing shit that either other people want to do or you're basically living life on your own terms. And to me, that definition is different for everybody. I do believe that there are certain basic traditions that masculine men need to uphold because I believe that our genetic biome is just better at certain things, just like women have certain strengths that they're just naturally better at. But like I said, there are some exceptions to the rule. But in a general case, men are usually better at certain things and women are usually better at certain things. And I try to always keep things aligned to that. But it really comes down to about knowing who you are as a person. Because nobody can really tell you what your definition of a man is. You have to search that within yourself. Because like we spoke earlier, somebody can give you good advice. I can sit up here and I can give somebody really great advice, but it may not be good for them. It's good for me because I live the shit. So you really have to go out there, live, see what you want, because everybody looks at things different. But the biggest thing I say, living it on your terms and, not compromising in that aspect. And if you're compromising, there's nothing wrong with that. But to me, you're living like a coward. I say, yo, step your game up. And that's my opinion. That's my opinion. But, some people don't agree with that. But I say just step it up.
I want to ask you this question. A guy comes to you, 18 years old. He feels lost in life. He has no idea what to do, hasn't really thought about his life. Things have been going wrong. What advice would you give to him?
So if he really, really wanted to change, the first thing I would tell him would be to get in the gym.
Okay.
Because the reason why I say the gym, because you spoke about getting good with girls and you spoke about getting good with sales. There's so many things that are outside of your control. The first thing, if you're fucked in life, you need to get some type of control, some type of consistency. The gym is something you can control. Yeah. Finding a job that, whether it's Starbucks, that'll get you enough to where you can pay $10 a month for a membership. And you can go, hey, every day when I get off of work, I just go for an hour. Finding some type of consistency, some type of routine, some type of thing like that, that helps men get on the board. The second thing that I would say, if he can be consistent with that, then it gives him some type of empowerment.
Yeah.
Wow, I can do this. Wow, I do have control of what I do. Wow, my body's changing. I do look better. I do feel better. That's the first thing. Next thing I would tell them is to get in sales. Get in some type of sales, get that income up. Because a lot of people, they want to say that, oh man, you gotta they got money problems. And a lot of time they think that it's saving problems. No, you have an income problem. And the first thing you need to do is up the income. And that's gonna be more of a challenge. But if you combine that with going to the gym first, you got that foundation. Boom, you got that. How you eat, how you do things, life is going to change when you get into the gym seriously. Yeah. And you can put as much into it as you want. You don't got to be six-packed out like Zez, you know what I'm saying? But not seriously. But if you just want to just be just a nice fit guy, just eat healthy, that gives you a solid foundation that you can control. And next when you get into sales, as we spoke about, there's a lot of things that you can't control. It's a lot of things. But once you break that barrier, you can be some shit for a couple years, 2-3 years. But once you break it, though, your income's unlimited. Everybody's looking for good salesmen. I don't care. That's something that will never go out of style. A person that can sell, you know what I'm saying? Because that thing, that charisma, it just can't be replaced. And especially with a lot of people sitting behind computers, they don't know how to even talk to anybody anymore. Yeah. So no, I would say the first thing. Yep. Yeah. First couple things.
That's pretty solid. I like that. Get into sales and exercise, take care of your body.
Mm-hmm.
I have one last question for you.
But if I say that, I might get canceled. I don't know.
Well, yeah, you're trying to get people to improve.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Actually, masculine development? What? I'm
not going to lie. You guys, the show is going to be canceled soon.
Oh, yeah, I already know. That's why I tell him we need to get on Rumble as soon as possible. We won't get canceled over there, but YouTube, yeah, because they're demonetizing David Goggins. David Goggins is
really?
They're starting to take down some of his content.
Oh,
because he'll be like, shut the fuck up. But some people need to hear that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, but it is what it is, though. But yeah, you said you had a question?
On a random note, real quick, did you hear about the Sneeko and Aiden Ross thing? They started talking about like masculinity and self-improvement. I think Sneeko got
canceled. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Aiden Ross got
they took Aiden Ross down. And Aiden Ross, he don't even talk about they just took him down because of his affiliation with Tate. He started getting close with him.
Which is crazy because I feel like that's pretty blatant, but that's a whole
nother rabbit hole. But I have seen that. But they're two young men, and I actually since the whole Andrew Tate situation, I actually got a lot more admiration for Sneeko. Shout out to him and people like Fresh and Fit and people like, because even if I don't agree with somebody, I represent people that can go against the masses. Hey, this is our boy. We gonna ride for our boy. He was wrongfully done. Fuck it, we there. Because I seen a lot of people that I don't want to get nobody no free press, but I seen a lot of people like turn on him. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That was like, dang, bro, he was on your show. He blessed your platform. And all of a sudden you just turn on this man. Yeah. It's one thing if it's like you don't want to say anything about it. That's cool.
Yeah.
But you literally just shank him. Yeah. And it's like he's in jail now. So it's kind of like what they did to Tupac. Arsenio Hall, Wendy Williams, when Tupac got arrested for that fake rape charge, everybody wanted to say, oh, make fun of him, Tupac. As soon as he got out of jail, everybody was like, I ain't say that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a similar situation, man. You know, and it's sad. It really shows you how people really are. And that's why I'm very big on loyalty. That's why when we talk about things like girls and sales and money, to me, man, that's little stuff compared to loyalty. And that's what I said, I'll never sting my boy or anything like that. My homies come first over these hoes always. And I'm not saying that shit because it's cool, but I literally seen how these bitches be. They switch up at a minute. So I would never sting my boy over no chick.
Yeah.
So because, I seen so much disloyal and betrayal, even from some of my friends. You know, my old quote unquote friends that I don't hang around anymore. But loyalty, that's one thing. When I read books by Donald Trump, when I read books by all these great entrepreneurs, that's one thing they always say, man, no matter how rich I buy, I can't buy that. So when you find that, loyalty is your foundation. That's the first thing I look for. So, yeah, man. So it really shows you the ugliness of people.
Yeah.
And the influence around.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We're about to get, I shouldn't say, actually, this is my show now. So I'm about to get canceled for saying this, but one last question for you.
It's all good. Get on Rumble.
What? Yeah, I just actually made an account.
Okay,
recently, so.
Good.
Final thing.
Okay.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Dominating. That's it, man. That's one.
I like that.
Ask TK, man. I wake up. I don't know. I've never been the type to ever plan shit. I've always been the type to, hey, you give me an opportunity, I'm gonna set this bitch off on 10. Like that's how I've always been. If you would have asked me what I've been a teacher before I came to, I wouldn't have known. You would have told me I would have been into roof sales and all that, wouldn't have known. You would have told me I would have done a personal trainer, I wouldn't have known. You would have told me I'm doing half. You told me I'm into music, shit like that. You never would have known. If you would have told me I was doing half of the things that I would have been doing 10 years ago, wouldn't have even known. So my thing is just no matter what, you learn that a lot of the principles are the same across both. If you're consistent, when you're loyal to the game and you put the work in, which I know that I will, domination is inevitable. So I'm like you, man. I'll be working until the day I die. I will never retire. I'm gonna always have money. I'm gonna always spend aggressively. I'm gonna always be myself. And until the day these motherfuckers kill me, or you know what I'm saying, until the day I get canceled, whichever one comes first. But I'm always gonna speak my mind, and I'm always gonna continue to fight for freedom of speech, free Andrew Tate, free Top G, free. I'm always do that. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, nobody should be canceled. Even if a woman got canceled for saying some shit that people don't agree with, nobody should be canceled for sitting here like speaking on how they feel. Right. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be canceled in the school system because you want to speak. It's a perspective. And if you're not mature enough to have perspective, yo, get off his fucking channel. Yeah. But yeah, free Top G, man.
Yeah. Free Top G.
Free Top G.
Fortune. Mm-hmm. I appreciate you being on the show, man.
Yes, sir, man.
There's a lot.
Thanks so much for having me.
I know I've been saying there's a lot that I want to get into. I still want to get into music at some point. I want to get more into fitness. There's a lot I want to get to. I know you. I saw you have another podcast too. And I want to get into that too. But in my mind, I'm trying to like, I'm like, if I get into it, that's like 2 more hours, which I'm cool with. But I want to save it for another episode.
But you know what, man? You want to know how thankful I am to hear you say that. Literally, man, from a young kid, man, I really didn't see myself having that much potential. I really didn't. You know, I was always taught I was a screw up growing up. I was told I was a loose cannon. You know, my second grade teacher told me I'd be in jail because I was always fighting, stuff like that. You know, so it's just, you know, it's cool to just see like just people, even just being the fact that you reaching out to me, just saying that you wanted to interview me, come on the platform. That stuff means a lot to me. And just saying people saying like, man, you do so much and all this. I don't even know where to start with you. To me, it's really music to my ears. And I'm very thankful to have that because like I said, man, if you would have told me at the age of 6, I'd be doing just half the stuff that I'm doing now, man, I would have never thought it was possible. So I'm always thankful when people want me having a platform. You know what I'm saying? I'm always thankful for you wanting to interview me and just, you know, taking notice. Thank you, man.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, for anyone watching too, check out his podcast, check out his music. You have a fitness Instagram. I'm going to have you plug in just a second.
It's got so much stuff.
And check out his YouTube because he has his own YouTube. I've stalked some of your videos. I was checking out some of your videos. He's got some good advice on his YouTube videos too.
Yeah, we actually revamping a lot of stuff, man. I was telling the TK, we going definitely in a different direction with a lot of the brand, but we definitely coming in with some more steam. A lot of the content I took a break from for about like a month. I don't think I posted a video on my YouTube for a month, but that's because I got some more. I'm taking it a different direction, but y'all gonna love it though. The podcast, everything put my hands on turns to gold. That's for certain. Fortune.
Yeah, I think at one point I subscribed to you, and you were doing you do at least like a video a day. I remember my feed.
Yeah,
I was like, damn, this dude always doing a video. Saw something in the car. I saw something like you were. Yeah, I was like, God. but yeah. So, Fortune, where is the best place for the viewers and the listeners to find you?
Oh man, okay. So you can find me at Fortune on YouTube. You can find me at From the Crib Podcast. You can catch me here on Shattered Illusionz Podcast. You can also, like I said. If you want some nutrition advice or anything like that, I do online coaching. So you can follow me at Nutrition Dude on Instagram. And you can also find me at Fortune as well on TikTok as well. So that's where you'll see a lot more of my motivation videos and things like that. And like I said, more to come. Prepare to be amazed.
Do you post more on Instagram or TikTok?
So now I took a break from everything. I took a break, but that was intentional though. Okay. That was intentional. But no, when I come on every single platform.
Okay.
No homo. But pause. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying. But now, when I take Storm, I don't believe in leaving no stone unturned. When I leave this earth, or when I'm on my deathbed, I want to know that one person I like to always look up to is Miles Monroe. You know, rest in peace. He died in the plane crash. He was a pastor, and you know, he read a lot of the Bible. But one thing that he always said is, I always want to die empty. You know what I'm saying? Die empty. I want to know that everything that was birthed. How you say you have all these ideas? Put them out there. You know what I'm saying? Anything that's birthed, that's in my head, will be put out, will be efficient. It may start off rocky, but the shit will grow and it'll be phenomenal. We know once I put my mind to it. So, you know, I just want to die empty, man. I want to know that I did every single thing. I put my hands on every single thing. I was the best co-host for TK. You know, I was the best interviewee for you. I want to, everything I put my hands on, I want to be the fucking best at, man. So, you know, just want to die empty, man. No, I did everything I could.
Yo, Fortune's got some good energy. I'm getting pumped up just sitting here listening. He's got some good energy. I'm sitting here like, damn, I want to after this, I want to do some more work. I kind of want to get some more questions in.
Oh man, I'm going to the gym after this, man. I never stop working. It's never stop working, man. Because at the end of the
PM.
Well, at the end of the day, to me, time is just an illusion. I just always look, and that's why when I look up to people like Andrew Tate and Elon Musk, because the number one thing that kills me about them is their work ethic. Yeah. Like Elon Musk, like even reading his book, seeing he showed me that I could take it to another level. I didn't even know that, like, and I'm nowhere near on their level, but my thing is there's always more work to be done. And it's like, you know, you don't know how much finite time, like you don't know how much time, you think your time here on this earth is infinite, but you know, hey, bro, I know motherfuckers that ain't make it to 30. I know people that ain't make it to my age now, 29. I know people that ain't make it to 20. Yeah. So my thing is I don't take my days for granted. Every single day I wake up, I'm going to continue to be the best man, the best person, the best co-host, the best whatever hat I put on. I'm going to be the best I can for that day. And That's it. No denying. That's what I said. Even if I happen to go young or whatever, you know, at the end of the day, I'll know that I put my hands and I put out every single thing that I wanted to do. But yep, you guys will see more. You will see more music. I got a project coming out this year. You will see more shit from the podcast, my From the Crib podcast. You'll see more shit from Shattered Illusionz podcast. You're going to see more events. You're going to see us doing more street interviews. It's going to be everything we put our hands on, dog, is fucking fire. Everything we do is fucking fire. We ain't letting down for nothing. That's why I said 2023. It ain't even about the fucking year. At the end of the day, this is what we do. This is our lifestyle. So we got merch coming soon. It's so much shit, man. But like I said, I could talk shit all day, but at the end of the day, everybody's going to see. Everybody's going to see. Everybody's going to see. We got the Garden of Eden here. Every single plant I plant is going to grow. That's it.
I like it, man. I like it.
You know, that's how I feel, man. That's how I feel about it, man. I really do, man.
That's good. But Fortune, man, I appreciate you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, man.
For letting me do this.
Oh, yeah, man. I almost forgot we was even off the studio, man. You know what I'm saying? But, hey, man, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Been a pleasure, man.
Yeah.
All right. So that was another episode of Meeting Virginia. Be sure to follow Fortune.
Yeah.
On his platforms. Am I looking at the right? This one. Be sure to follow Fortune.
Getting used to.
On all his platforms. Fortune, once again, I appreciate you for being on the show, man.
Hey, thank you, man.
And I'll see you guys in the next episode of Meeting Virginia. Peace out.
Hey.